There's nothing more important than accessing your land without the deer knowing you're accessing your land to hunt. That boils down to a lot of times screening your access and screening your food plots. Have you screened your food plots effectively? Have you screened your access effectively? I find a lot of times you can do both at the same time, especially in a setting like this where we have rimmed this food plot in switchgrass down here on our access side. Switchgrass, switch all the way around. We have a lot of switching here. This is actually an erosion area, so we've used switchgrass to combat erosion, which is awesome too. And we have switchgrass on the food plot up there, food plots behind me, lines of switch going through here. But it all boils down to layers of cover that we're using to screen and access our land while we hunt without spooking deer. Switchgrass, you can check my website, you can check my YouTube channel out. Even if you just put in switchgrass for whitetails right now, switchgrass for wildlife, all my content comes up at the top, whether it's YouTube videos or articles, Google articles online. You can find that all very easily. And switchgrass is a great product to help you screen everything that you need to going in and out of your land. Now I like switchgrass are referred to as a permanent screen, something that can last a decade or more if you put it in correctly. And then there are temporary screens of Egyptian wheat, sorghum varieties, various Sudan grasses, Northwoods whitetails. John Comp, he specializes in screening varieties. You should check him out. It's one of, he really hammers this home. He does a lot of testing, and he'll give you a good temporary screening product. And while you're at it, he also sells switchgrass too. So you need to check out the switchgrass for your area, but very easy to frost seed. You're taking soil into the fall, open exposed soil that's been chemically treated, disked. You're spraying simazine 2 to 3 weeks before spring green up in the spring. This is before anything. Simazine is a pre-emergent. You can frost seed your switchgrass during the winter time. Up to a month before spring green up is a good gauge right there. January, February, March. You can even frost seed in October, November, December. Get that seed on the soil. Then you're using the simazine before spring green up. 2 weeks after spring green up, you're not going to kill all the weeds with that simazine. Then you're using 2 quarts per acre of glyphosate, and you're spraying whatever weeds are coming up. I add 1 pint of 2,4-D in there too, and that's a great typical ag mix. You're not overdoing it, and that'll eliminate 90% of your weeds. And that is the #1 failure of switchgrass, is not eliminating the weeds. You want to have big, beautiful switchgrass. This is mid-July right now, and look at this stuff. I mean, it is awesome. It's still got growth to it. It's going to be up this high. It's looking really good. This is an outstanding, quick, and easy way to ensure that you can get on and off your land without spooking deer. A lot of times, I'm looking at more of a midsummer planting of some of those quick-growing screenings that are temporary, and that'll leave you a shorter screen, less debris. You can actually frost seed the switchgrass into that standing sorghum, Sudan grass, Egyptian wheat during the middle of the winter. When it gets into the spring, we can use our Packer Max to crush that down in the spring. Make sure that Egyptian wheat stays down on that switchgrass seed. You've chemically controlled it using simazine, the post-emergent glyphosate, and 2,4-D, and you can have a great stand of switchgrass. So I like those two together. A lot of times I'm putting switchgrass on the outside, I'm putting my screening on the inside, and if it's a food plot, that screening will screen that food plot for that first year. The second year the switchgrass comes in and takes over. This is 3rd year switchgrass right here. And you can convert that screening into more switchgrass, so you have that layered effect, or you can convert it to food plot. But using grasses, using screening, using switchgrass to screen your access is an important way to ensure that you're not spooking a lot of deer this fall. And let's face it, if you're spooking deer on a regular basis when you hunt, you're going to be behind when it comes to chasing the oldest buck in the neighborhood. In fact, just spooking deer a few times on your property and setting yourself up for that, accessing poorly, not having screening, then you're gonna have a really hard time tapping into those mature bucks unless it's deer in the rut, and you're gonna have a hard time building the herd that you want. And for your efforts, you always need to screen. Make sure you can get on and off your land like a predator and not spook deer. That's the name of the game.